Belinda Bencic just defeated Alex Eala 6-4, 6-0 in 73 minutes. And I'm about to tell you something that might sound completely insane. That second set 6-0 could actually be one of the best things that has happened to Alex Eala's season. I know how that sounds. And I know it sounds exactly like a fan trying to make excuses for a player they like. The kind of cope you scroll past on social media at 2 in the morning. So let me be very clear about what this video is not. This is not about saying Eala tried her best, and it is not about moral victories. This is about the schedule, because here's what almost every recap you read this morning did. They reported the score, mentioned that Bencic was clinical, pointed out that Eala's 7-match winning streak had come to an end, and then moved on to the next match. But almost none of them looked closely at the 10 days that came before that score. And when you actually lay those 10 days out, the entire result starts to look very different. So here's what I'm going to show you. First, what really broke for Eala in Toronto was not what you might think. There's one number on that stat sheet, one specific row, that tells you exactly what went wrong, and it has nothing to do with confidence, nerves, or simply Bencic playing great tennis. Second, and this is the part that may be difficult to accept, winning that previous match might actually have been the worst possible outcome for Eala's US Open preparation. Not the loss, the win. I'm going to run that alternate timeline for you day by day, and I think it's going to make you uncomfortable, because once you see how the schedule actually unfolded, this result starts to look very different. And third, this isn't some theory I made up for the sake of a story. This exact thing has happened before, to a 21-year-old having the summer of her life, at this exact tournament, in this exact city, in just 19 days. Alex Eala will walk onto a court at Flushing Meadows for the US Open, and everything about how that moment could unfold was shaped this week. Not necessarily in the way you've been told. And here's the strangest part. The player who handed Eala that bagel on Sunday night is the same player this exact scenario happened to 11 years ago in Toronto. We'll get there. But before any of this makes sense, you need to understand two things about how professional tennis really works. The first is how ranking points expire, and the second is just how brutally compressed the North American hardcourt swing can be. Both are about to become incredibly important. So stay with me for the next 3 minutes, because once you understand these two pieces, everything else in this video will start to fall into place. But first, let's talk about who we're actually discussing. Alex Eala is 21 years old and left-handed, and she trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Manacor, Spain, after moving there as a child thousands of miles away from Manila because the professional tennis infrastructure she needed simply wasn't available at home. The Philippines is home to more than 115 million people. Yet before this month, the country had produced exactly 0 WTA singles champions. Not one in the entire history of the tour. Just 6 days before Toronto, Eala had already changed the entire story. At the Mubadala DC Open in Washington, D.C., she defeated Olympic gold medalist Qin Wenjing, then took down Elena Svitolina, beat Naomi Osaka in the semifinal, and in the final defeated world number 3 Jessica Pegula 4-6, 6-4, 6-0. It was historic. Eala became the first Filipina in history to win a WTA singles title and the first player from Southeast Asia to win a WTA 500 event, sending her ranking soaring from number 28 in the world to number 20. Now, the first thing you need to understand is how WTA ranking points actually work. The system operates on a rolling 52-week cycle, meaning you are not simply building a career total. You are constantly defending what you earned during the same period the previous year. If you win a tournament in August 2025 and then lose early at that same event in August 2026, you don't simply add a few new points. You can lose a significant chunk of your ranking total. Your ranking isn't a scoreboard that stays frozen. It's more like a lease you have to renew every single week. So what happened to Alex Eala at Toronto last year? She made her tournament debut and lost in the first round in straight sets to Marketa Vondrousova, meaning she had almost nothing to defend through August and September of 2025. Hold on to that detail, because it completely changes what Sunday night's result actually cost her, and that number is going to matter more than almost anything else in this video. The second thing you need to understand is the calendar. Toronto runs through August 13th. Cincinnati starts almost immediately afterward, and the US Open begins on August 30th. That means 3 massive tournaments are packed into roughly 4 weeks. And here's the part casual fans rarely consider. The deeper you go in the first tournament, the less recovery time you have for the next one. Success in early August isn't always free momentum. It can come with a physical price. Think of it like a sprinter running an all-out qualifying heat, and then being asked to run another full-speed race shortly afterward. Winning that heat feels incredible, but it doesn't automatically make you fresher for the final. And that final, in this case, is the biggest match of her life, the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open carries more ranking points than a WTA 1000 event, and a deep run there could potentially push Alex Eala into the world's top 10 for the first time in her career, a level no Filipino player has ever come close to reaching. Everything she has done this summer has been building toward those 2 weeks in New York. So remember the 2 tools we've established. Ranking points expire on a 52-week cycle, and this brutal stretch of the calendar can punish players who go deep week after week. Keep both of those ideas in your head, because they are about to become extremely important. And look, I know you clicked on this, expecting a simple match recap, and instead, I just gave you a lesson in ranking mechanics. That's intentional. If you want the kind of tennis coverage where someone reads you a scoreline, says a player was clinical, and calls that analysis, there are hundreds of channels doing that this morning. But if you want to understand why things happen before they happen, subscribe, because that is exactly what we're going to be doing throughout the U.S. Open. Now that you have a framework, you're finally ready to see what actually happened to Alex Eala on Sunday night. And surprisingly, it had very little to do with Belinda Bencic. Here is the number that changes the entire match. Eala won just 46. 4% of the point behind her first serve, while Bencic won 72. 4% behind hers. Sit with that for a second. A top 20 player on a hard court was actually losing more points than she won when getting her first serve in. That doesn't simply happen because your opponent is playing well. Pegula is a stronger returner than Bencic, and just 6 days earlier, she didn't expose Eala in this way. The problem starts with the serve itself. Eala landed only 58, 3% of her first serves, compared with Bencic's 64. 4%, meaning Eala was missing more first serves, and even when she got them in, they weren't doing enough damage. In simple terms, her first serve was functioning more like a second serve, and that explains why the break points started piling up. Eala faced 10 break points across just 8 service games and saved 4 of them, while Bencic faced 4 break points and saved 2. And here's why that matters far more than most people realize. The serve is the most physically demanding shot in tennis, and it is also the only shot where you have to generate essentially all the power yourself. Every ground stroke can borrow energy from the pace your opponent gives you, but the serve gets nothing for free. It begins in the legs, loads through the hips and core, travels up through the trunk, and ultimately finishes through the shoulder and arm. When the legs start to disappear, that entire kinetic chain begins breaking down from the bottom up, which is why the serve is often the first part of a player's game to suffer when fatigue sets in. Ask any coach on tour and they'll tell you the same thing. Fatigue usually doesn't reveal itself in your forehand first. It shows up in the ball toss, the leg drive, and the percentage of first serves going in. That isn't a confidence statistic. It's a fuel gauge, and there's strong evidence that this wasn't simply a difference in playing level. Look at the first set. 5 breaks of serve, 5. Eala got broke back, was broken again to fall behind 3-2, and then immediately broke back to level the set at 4-4 after Bencic double faulted on break point. For roughly 40 minutes, Eala was going toe-to-toe with an Olympic gold medalist. Then the second set turned into a 6-0 in roughly half an hour. Think about what that shape actually tells you. If this were purely a talent gap, you expect it to appear from the opening games, not suddenly after the 9th game of the match. If this were nerves, you would expect the biggest problems to appear during the tightest moments of the first set, not after that set was already over. Neither happened. Eala produced highly competitive tennis for an entire set, and then suddenly fell off a cliff. So the question becomes incredibly simple. What emptied the tank? Because to answer that, we have to go back through the 10 days that almost nobody was talking about. Start with the trophy. The Washington final against Pegula didn't even finish on the day it was originally scheduled. The match was suspended with Pegula leading 6-4, 1-2, forcing both players to return the following day to complete it. So Eala, playing in the first WTA final of her career, went to bed down a set and a break, and then had to wake up, reset mentally, and finish the job on Monday. She won the title. But there's something important that often gets overlooked. Every player on tour builds their schedule around one thing: the recovery gap between tournaments. That is when you sleep, fly, receive treatment, recover, and mentally reset. For Eala, that gap was effectively swallowed by the rain delay. So ask yourself this: if winning the title required an extra day, where did that extra day come from? The answer was Toronto. Eala arrived as a 25th seed with first-round bye, which sounds like a gift, but it turned out to be the last easy thing that happened to her. In the second round, she faced Alicia Parks, the American who had beaten her at the Australian Open back in January, and Eala needed 3 sets to get through, 6-1 for the 6, 6-2. Then came the third round against Katie McNally, who had just eliminated Wimbledon champion and 6th seed Linda Noskova. Once again, Eala needed 3 sets, eventually winning 6-3, 5-7, 6-4 in a battle that lasted 2 hours and 39 minutes and finished late at night. Add the Washington final to that equation, and suddenly you're looking at 3 consecutive matches going the distance with virtually no recovery window across a brutal 10-day stretch. So here's question number 2. How many top 20 players in the world could absorb that kind of schedule immediately after winning their first major WTA title and still walk onto the court completely fresh? Now comes a detail that was buried in a single sentence near the bottom of most match reports. In the second set against McNally, at 3-2, Eala struck a forehand off a return and landed awkwardly on her right foot. She rolled her ankle. The trainer came onto court. Eala took a medical timeout, and her ankle was taped before she got back up and somehow finished the match with a win. Afterward, she said it was nothing serious, which is exactly what almost every tennis player says when asked about an injury in the middle of a tournament. But watch the sequence closely. Eala was leading 3-2 in that set when the injury happened, and she eventually lost the set 7-5. So here's question number 3. What changed in the games immediately after her foot landed awkwardly? And now comes a detail I would bet you haven't heard anywhere else this week. Eala was also competing in the doubles draw. She partnered with Venus Williams, a 7-time Grand Slam singles champion and former world number 1, creating a partnership that would have been a major headline in almost any other week. They lost 6-4, 6-3 to Samsonova and Kudermetova and exited early, but the result itself isn't the important part. The timing is. That doubles match was played immediately before Eala's singles match in the round of 32. 2 matches in the same day, with one 21-year-old body carrying the load. So question number 4, and be honest with yourself. In everything you watched or read about Eala this week, did anyone actually tell you that? Now, put the entire picture together. 8 singles wins in 10 days, 5 of them against elite opposition, a final stretch across 2 calendar days, a flight and a border crossing, 3 consecutive deciding sets, a doubles campaign layered on top, and a right ankle that was rolled and taped just 48 hours before the biggest match of the week. That is a version of Alex Eala, who walked onto the court to face Belinda Bencic on Sunday night. So yes, the bagel was physical. Fine, that is an easy explanation. And honestly, that is probably where most videos about this loss are going to stop. But that is not the interesting part. The interesting part is what would have happened if Eala had actually won. So let's run the alternative timeline. Eala beats Bencic on Sunday night and advances to the quarterfinals of the WTA 1000 for the 3rd time this season. Then comes a quarterfinal on Monday, the semifinal on Wednesday, and potentially a final on August 13th. Now count what that would actually cost her. As many as 13 matches across 17 days, while carrying an ankle she had rolled just 48 hours earlier and relying on a first serve that was already producing only 46% of the points she started. And the moment that final ends, Cincinnati begins. Another WTA 1000, another demanding stretch of best-of-3 tennis. This time in the brutal Ohio humidity in the middle of August. Then, almost immediately, the U.S. Open begins on August 30th. So ask yourself the honest question. What version of Alex Eala walks onto a court at Flushing Meadows in that timeline? A champion or a survivor? Because she could have been entering the biggest fortnight of her career, already running on an empty tank. carrying weeks of accumulated fatigue with almost no opportunity to repay the deficit. Best of three tennis can sometimes be survived when you're tired,